There's an article in, I think it was Scientific American, last issue or the issue before, by Ramachandran on perception. He's written quite a few articles on perception in SciAm. They're always really interesting. But this particular one was asking the question something like, how smart is the human eye? How smart is the eye? Of course, he didn't just mean the eye; he meant the visual system. But what he's basically arguing there is that the visual system, even though we're not consciously aware of its operations, it appears to us transparently. We just seem to be able to look through our eyes and see the world ready-made. He says that he just kind of reminds us that when we're doing that, what's actually happening is that the visual system, the eye and the various visual centres in the brain, are actually carrying out enormously complex. Come on, pups, come on. Are actually carrying out enormously complex processing operations and solving all kinds of problems, really. So for example, when we see something that's, let's say we see an object, and part of it is a slightly different colour to another part, we seem to pretty much all the time we can tell whether it's actually two colours or whether one part of it's just got a shadow falling across it. We can just do that without, as I say, without any conscious thought. It just appears to us as sense. We can make sense of the world in that way, visual sense. And we seem to be able to resolve distances, and even with that tiny amount of information that we're getting in terms of data, just this stream of light coming in through the pupil of the eye, we can resolve distances and work out problems of perspective and all those things, and work out stuff to do with colours and stuff. So he's just pointing out the immense complexity of the visual system's operations, and inviting us to imagine, if that process was conscious, how smart would it be? Because those are quite complex things. You would need, a reasonably powerful computer to solve some of those problems. And I know some of those problems can't be solved by computers yet, so they need to be more complex than the ones we have available. So, in some measure, the eye itself, the visual system, is smart and has a kind of IQ. What that invited me to think about really was, what's the relationship? What's the relationship between that kind of intelligence, the intelligence that the eye displays in terms of its ability to carry out those processes, turn the stream of raw data from the world into this multimedia show that we're getting, and be able to solve the very particular problems, like the problems of shadows, or like problems of resolving size and deciding when something really is big or whether it's just a long way away or close up or whatever. What's the relationship between that intelligence and the stuff that we more conventionally call intelligence, our ability to solve rational problems consciously? Because that's something that we really hold up as a kind of mark of human intelligence, isn't it? The fact that we can take the data of the world, in the form of, a spreadsheet or something, or a set of statistics, or a set of scientific findings from an experiment, or whatever, or just kind of the vernacular experiences that we have. Taking that data and then analysing it rationally, and making rational choices based on the intelligent processing of that information consciously. We seem to be able to do that. So I'm just wondering if these things are related, particularly obviously because I'm talking about vision right now, to do with vision, but potentially to do with other senses as well, because all the senses do process data in different ways and do solve problems and do act intelligently in some way outside of consciousness. So when we're consciously making sense of the world, consciously taking this set of statistics and turning it into a social policy of some kind, or taking this set of experimental findings and turning it into a theory, an explanatory structure for explaining some part of the world. When we're doing those kind of conscious activities, are we just reusing in a way maybe old circuits that are really to do with turning streams of data into the appearance of trees, or turning compression waves in the air into sounds or sentences or whatever? You know, as I say, are we just reusing those mechanisms? Is the way we make sense of the world based on the way our senses operate on the world? Yeah, I think it probably is. I think there must be a relationship.